Paul Feinbaum and ESPN put Oklahoma football head coach Brent Venables in the hot seat heading into 2025. We'll talk to an OU football player who says, not so fast. The Sooners are coming in 2025. Locked on SEC starts now.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, everybody? Welcome into Locked On SEC. It's great to have you guys along. I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Shout out to everydayers. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code LOCKEDONCollege, and get $20 off your first purchase. All right, we've been talking a lot of college basketball and the SEC these past couple of days and weeks, so wanted to shift back into some spring football conversation. Today we'll head up to Norman, Oklahoma, and catch up with Sooners running back Sam Franklin and find out all about the new pieces Brent Venables has brought in this offseason, including a new OC in Ben Arbuckle and a new quarterback in John Mateer. But before we get to our interview with Sam Franklin, figured we would check in with some of the headlines the past week or so around SEC football. So let's dive into it. And first stop, we jump over to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, as all eyes are on that quarterback battle in Alabama. And a couple of days ago, they had their first spring scrimmage. Kalen DeBoer was asked about the quarterback's performances, and he said, not naming a quarterback, he said, well, one was a really short pass you really want to see completed. That wasn't. And an opportunity for an explosive play that we missed. Overall, DeBoer said he was pleased with the quarterback room. That includes Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, and Keelan Russell. Said the unit has looked more comfortable in recent days. He also said he didn't see anything that would necessarily change his mind about the status of the room. He said, look, they all bring something a little bit different to the table, even though it's not like maybe a runner and then a passer. It's guys doing their thing and what their strengths are. So Simpson, Mack, Russell, DeBoer said one quarterback is set apart by his ability to throw catchable balls, while another who is better at field throws and another better at scrambling. So take that for what you will. Now, many believe at this point, Ty Simpson is at this point in the driver's seat to be the starter, but I got to think as we get more into summer ball and then heading into the fall, Keelan Russell will certainly make a strong push as he becomes more acclimated in that Ryan Grubb offense and gets to show his talented skill set even more. But for now, on April 1st, Ty Simpson is the leader in the clubhouse, but they don't play football on April 1st. They play it later in September, end of August into September. So we'll see who the quarterback is for Alabama when we get there. All right, other news around the conference. Over at Auburn, what are we hearing the latest on their quarterback, Jackson Arnold? Because, of course, Deuce Knight is hoping to push him, but all good, positive reviews so far of Jackson Arnold coming over from Oklahoma to Auburn. Hugh Freeze said a couple weeks ago on the first day of practice, he said he's very optimistic that Arnold, about his time at Auburn. Of course, Malcolm Simmons, the wide receiver, has been very complimentary of Jackson Arnold's decision-making, something so far that carries some extra importance in Hugh Freeze's mind. Now, when talking about his intangibles, senior lineman Jeremiah Wright praised Arnold's leadership and even said he loves his personality, says he's a little goofy. Now, QB's coach Kent Austin said complimented Arnold's smarts, his quick release, his accuracy, his pocket presence, and his foot speed, and also said Arnold already looking very promising as Auburn's next quarterback. He said he's got a pretty good command of what we're doing right now. He's a really talented player, and we're very hopeful that he will stay on that trajectory he's on right now. So looking like, of course, not a big surprise. I know some people were hoping Deuce Knight could jump Jackson Arnold on the depth chart, but does seem like Jackson Arnold is in line to be the starter there in Auburn heading into this season. How about over in Norman? Brent Venables defending his decision to take play calling duties of the defense back, saying it's a very natural space for me. He said, instinctively, I've got a great staff that several of us have been together for a long time. There's a deep understanding of what we do. I've got my fingerprints deep all over this defense, always have and always will. Now, calling plays can be a touchy subject for former coordinators turned head coaches. No play calling head coach has won a national championship since Jimbo Fisher did it at Florida State in 2013. Ohio State Ryan Day won the national title this year, the first year he handed off responsibilities to Chip Kelly as OC. A few other big-time coaches still call plays, like Steve Sarkisian over at Texas, and obviously they've made back-to-back playoff appearances. But Venables, they targeted Jim Knowles as defensive coordinator. He left Ohio State, went to Penn State, and after they weren't able to get Knowles, Venables made the decision to turn or take over the reins himself. He said, "Why trust a first-time play caller at Oklahoma more than me? For a long time, I was a play caller here in college football, and it was a comfortable space for me, and I've got a tremendous staff." So Brent Venables on why he will call the plays on the defensive side of the ball. Over at LSU, Blake Baker, their defensive coordinator, talked this past week about Harold Perkins moving him to that star position this offseason. And obviously, a little bit of a different role since breaking out as a true freshman. They've been trying to figure out where to put Harold Perkins, outside backer, inside backer, edge rusher. Where do we play him? Well, Blake Baker saying, look, typically the star position is played by a bigger safety, not a linebacker, but you look at Perkins, he's not a typical linebacker. 6'1", 225 pounds, and has great coverage skills. And Baker said, quote, "I just think the star position is so versatile. And quite frankly, we sat down at the end of the year and asked, where are you most comfortable?" And he said the star. He's got the capability to still allow us to be flexible from a coverage standpoint, but I do think he's a really, really good space player. I think with that position, you're able to do a lot of different things with him. So Harold Perkins, heading into his fourth season with LSU, of course, coming off the injury last year, will take over that spot Major Burns had last year in the star position. Like we said, that linebacker safety hybrid role. Excited to see what Harold Perkins will do in that role heading into this year. How about up in Knoxville? We stop off at Tennessee as they're looking for more wide receivers to step up this spring. The Vols said goodbye to guys like Brew McCoy, Dante Thornton, Squirrel White this offseason. They bring back sophomore Mike Matthews, Chris Brazel, who transferred in last offseason, and some attention is shifted to redshirt freshman Braylon Staley. Now, Staley going from a guy who played in 2 games with only 3 catches last year to one who's in position to be a starter this fall. And Josh Heupel asked a couple days ago about what gives him the confidence that Staley could be a key contributor. He said, look, I love how he's continued to grow since last fall. He's continued to take those steps this spring. He's been super consistent, has a great understanding of what we're doing offensively, and has the ability to recognize and identify coverage and get to the right spot. So Braylon Staley, not to be confused with Brandon Staley, going to be stepping up in a big role for the Vols this spring. Over at Georgia, let's head on over to Kirby Smart's part of town in Athens as cornerback Ellis Robinson impressing Kirby Smart so far this spring. He's competing alongside Daniel Harris, DeMello Jones, and others at the cornerback position. Dalen Everett has been limited this spring as he recovers from hernia surgery, but the cornerback battle is one to watch for Georgia. And Kirby Smart saying of Ellis Robinson a couple days ago, he's playing good, he's practicing good, he is competing. So I'm pleased. What I like about Ellis is he competes. He competes for the ball, and it bothers him when people catch the ball on him. Now, Smart has spoken on the importance of being a competitor and being competitive. And he used those words several times when describing Ellis Robinson. Robinson wasn't the only top-ranked member of Georgia's 2024 recruiting class who didn't see a lot of time on the field last year. Of their 28 signees, 21 of them redshirted. But as of now, the Bulldogs project it's going to be Daniel Harris and Dalen Everett as the starting DBs. Ellis Robinson certainly expected to play a bigger role this year in that secondary. Certainly a player to keep an eye on. And again, Kirby Smart very high on him. And lastly, we head up to Fayetteville, Arkansas as Sam Pittman, they are getting ready for their red and white spring game coming up on April 19th, just a couple weeks away. And Sam Pittman in his 6th year. They've had a handful of spring practices already, and they are looking for some guys to step up. Of course, they got their quarterback, Taylon Green, back, but looking for some wide receivers. An offense coordinator, Bobby Petrino, working with a new look offensive line and a brand new wide receiver room. Sam Pittman said he was looking for a bigger go-to outside wide receiver, and they've got some options in the slot as well. Pittman said he believes a bigger guy who can catch 50-50 balls and take the top off the defense is on the roster, but they're trying to see who that will be and who will emerge. So far, the best options at wide receiver are slot guys like Fresno State transfer Raylan Sharp and Cam Shanks, along with Stanford transfer Ismail Cisse, who is also more of a possession guy at 6 feet tall. Those are probably the top 3 receivers so far through the first few weeks, but you have 6'3", 230 pound sophomore Monty Harrison And the number 5 guy right now looking like sophomore CJ Brown, who is 6'1". So looking for that next big playmaker there for Arkansas. We will see who emerges. All right. Thank you guys for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Coming up next, our conversation with Sam Franklin, Oklahoma running back. That's coming your way here in just a second. But first, have you guys ever checked your bank account and wonder where did all my money go between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment? It is easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building your wealth. When you start using Monarch Money, you're going to realize just how much money you're spending on food delivery and other kind of things like that. And it'll make you want to budget smarter and save more. Of course, instead of juggling multiple apps, you can get all together on one app, and that is with monarchmoney.com. Go manage your money with your partner or for yourself. It'll make it as smooth as ever. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use our code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com. Get 50% off your first year. That's Monarch, MONARCH, money.com. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Go check them out today. Today's episode also brought to you by friends at Game Time. And look, imagine watching your favorite team live, feeling the energy of the crowd, and witnessing unforgettable moments. There's nothing like experiencing a big game in person, and getting tickets should not be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier than ever for you to grab last-minute seats at unbeatable prices. Of course, their new curation process makes it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, whatever it is. If you check the Game Time app, there are always amazing deals on some huge matchups coming up. Their lowest price guarantee at Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find something else better. And with seat views, before you buy, no surprise fees, and a lowest price guarantee, you can book with total confidence. Go take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code LOCKEDONCollege, get $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Rolling along here, Locked On SEC, and one of the fun parts of this time of year, we get to catch up with current players playing across the SEC, and now we head out to Norman, Oklahoma, as we catch up with Oklahoma running back Sam Franklin joining the show now. Sam, welcome in, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on the show.
Let's talk a little bit about this. What's this time of year like? It's like you kind of had the break, the football season ended, you get a little bit of time to decompress, but very quickly it's back into the weight room, it's back working out, and now here you guys are starting spring ball. So what was your off season like? Did you feel like you had an off season, or was it just back into football real quick?
No, it really felt like you're just back in football. You get done with the bowl game, spend a couple weeks with your family, and then it's back to work. So, but it's been great. The whole team, we've really been balled in and really just having a good time with each other, building that chemistry with each other. So, and I feel like we had a great winter condition piece.
I would say maybe we got to put you guys in bubble wrap to make sure everybody gets back to the season healthy. Because, man, take me back to last year. It felt like no college team dealt with more injuries than you guys did last year. How frustrating was that dealing with the injuries?
It was really frustrating, but at the end of the day, it's always the next man up. You just gotta be able to fight through the injuries if you can. But if you can't, we understand. We're human at the end of the day. So, you always just gotta have that next man up mentality.
Yeah, it just feels like had y'all been able to be a little bit more healthy last year, I know y'all would have had more wins, certainly. Take me back to your early days. You grew up in Little Rock. You ended up going to college at Tennessee Martin, where you ended up being a Walter Payton Award finalist. Was Arkansas not on your radar when you were coming out of high school?
It was for a little bit, but then it just never worked out, and it just never really did, and it just UT Martin came along, and Coach Jason Simpson, took a chance on me, and it led me all the way to here.
You were very successful there. 2023. I mean, super productive at UT Martin that year. 7 100-yard rushing games that year. 1,300 rushing yards. 11 touchdowns. What made you say at the end of that year, I want to leave and go somewhere else?
I just felt like I did everything I could do there. Win 3 conference championships. Even though I wanted to bring a national championship to the FCS world to them, but that didn't work out. But I just wanted to challenge myself even more. And I feel like I wanted to go to another bigger stage and prove it there.
So you end up going to Oklahoma, and man, it just seemed like from the get-go, it was just a crowded backfield. I mean, you had Gavin Sawchuk, who came off of the year he had 2 years ago, Javante Barnes, Taylor Tatum, Xavier Robinson, yourself. But it seemed like you kind of found a little bit of a niche role for yourself, and not just getting on the field at times as a running back, but also making an impact in the return game. Was that kind of like a spot where you said, all right, this is where I can really make an impact here?
Yeah, everybody had a role on the team, and my role was just to be that guy, to be a returner that year, and I just took full advantage of my role and just try to help my team win the games.
When you look back on last year, I mean, I'm sure there were a few really big highlights for you guys, but I'm sure what was the biggest one, beating Alabama?
Yes, that was my first time ever seeing a stadium, just get crowded by a whole bunch of fans and everything. It was just a great feeling, just knocking off a historical team, Alabama as they are, and just be able to beat them was great.
Yeah, because it was, I mean, that week everybody's talking about, oh, Bama's back in the playoff hunt and all this kind of stuff. And so it's kind of fun to play spoiler and take a team out like that. When you look at this team, Sam, you look at this roster, it looks like you guys bring a lot of the same names back in the backfield. So I got to think this is going to be a really fun competition throughout this spring, because everybody knows each other. Y'all are all teammates, but man, y'all are all fighting for the, those carries.
Yeah, it's a great competition. Coach Murray, he always have us and let us know every day that you're competing for a spot, and it just make us play even better. And but it's no bad blood anywhere, anything. We understand it. At the end of the day, it's a job, and you got to go win it, and that's what we're all doing.
You mentioned Coach Murray, and of course DeMarco Murray, your position coach. I got to think that's got to be a lot of fun to play for a guy who accomplished all he did at the college and the pro level. I mean, you're getting no offense against other running backs coaches, but this guy seems to be. I mean, there's nothing he can't tell you guys on what it takes to play at this level and get to the next level.
Yeah, it's great. Just him in general, just as a person, just besides the football, he just a great human being to be around, and it just be a great leader for us, to just look up to. And just the football side of it, he doesn't really like to try to change our game. He like us to be us, and that's what I really like about him. And just giving us little nuggets and stuff, because he did it at the highest level and won and been the MVP of the league. So just a lot of respect for him, and just whatever or everything he done for his life, for his career too.
You could have gone anywhere. Was he a big selling point on why you chose Oklahoma?
Yeah, it was really him. He just believing in me and telling me that, everything, all the other coaches was just telling me that, yeah, you'll get here and you'll play. Really, with him, it was you get here and you can compete and be and I can help you, achieve everything you want to achieve. And that's what really kind of sold me, because, I don't want nothing to be given to me. I want to compete everything I get and earn everything that I get.
More with Sam Franklin in just a second, but we want to remind you about our sponsor over at Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, and that is Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Go join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use our promo code SH5. Get 5% off your first order. That is at supplyhouse.com. Go check them out today. Continue our conversation with Oklahoma running back Sam Franklin. And Sam, tell me a little bit about what it's like playing for Coach Brent Venables, because we know how good of a coach he is. Obviously, I mean, everybody was coming after him for years as he was defense coordinator at Clemson, and he was waiting for that big job to take. He takes the Oklahoma job, but man, just a passionate, fiery dude. What is it like getting to play for Coach V?
It's a great experience just going off of last year, even though we didn't have the season he just kept us, motivated and on that vision of, just keep on, get past the finish line, and, we kind of, this year, we're more even hungrier than last year because, we went through the fire and we're ready to just come back and be able to, do the vision that he wants us to have, and that's to hold a national championship. So, it's great just getting coached by him. He's a great guy, just in general. Anything you need, you can easily go talk to him, and he's all open arms and ready to help you at anything.
You mentioned looking ahead to this season, you guys make some changes this offseason on the offense. Ben Arbuckle, tell me what you like about him coming in so far as the OC. I know you guys are just getting started, but the guy comes in with a lot of high accolades and what he was able to do at Washington State. Got to be excited to bringing in him as the new OC.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's a great, just a refreshing, a new fresh start. I really like everything that he brings to the table, especially the swag and everything that he has on about himself, and he really got a way to motivate all the players just to do that extra that extra plus two, mentality. And that's what he always preaches to us. So, and he's going to give it everything he got for us, and we're going to give it everything for him. So, yeah.
Coach Arbuckle doesn't only bring swag with him, but he brings his quarterback with him, and John Mateer. We heard John talk with the media last week about his decision to come to OU, but what have you seen out of John so far? Another guy that, I mean, everybody you look at was saying this was the winner of the transfer portal and getting such an accomplished quarterback to come into OU. What have you seen out of John so far?
Just a great teammate. At the end of the day, he doesn't have the big head or anything, and I really like that about him. He's a humble guy, ready to work, put his head down, and just there for his teammates. That's what I really like about him.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of excited. It's funny, this is the time of year everybody puts out lists and rankings and all this, and it's like, people are listing the rankings of SEC quarterbacks, and it's like they don't really know where to put John, because it's like, man, wait, this is a guy who's got a lot of skins on the wall. Like, where is he going to rank? And I think the sky's the limit with what he can do with you guys and come in and take this offense. On the flip side, just a quick thought: your former quarterback Jackson Arnold, I know he decided to transfer out, but not just transfer out, but go to another school in the SEC at Auburn, who you guys are going to actually host this year. I know everybody makes the best decision that's for them and all that, but were you guys surprised that Jackson decided to transfer out?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to keep players here that that you had last year, but at the end of the day, it's the business. That's what kind of the way college football is now. So, nothing but the best for him and his career. He was a great quarterback in my eyes, and and if he felt like this wasn't the best place for him, so be it. But at the end of the day, I hope he do great there. Yeah.
We hope he does great, just not on September 20th when he comes to North.
No, not at all.
You guys bring in some new pieces, particularly wide receiver. Giovanni Gibson, Isaiah Satania comes over from Arkansas, and then it's about finally getting guys healthy. And, man, getting Deion Burks back healthy. I was just so excited to see what he was going to be able to do last year, but obviously the injury bug, kind of was a nip in the bud. Jaden Gibson, But I look at this receiving core, man. You guys have got some dogs here. This could be a really high flying offense.
Yeah, most definitely. Our receiver room is loaded, back, and then they're all healthy and they're all great, and so it's kind of just a good feeling to have that. You have a room that's ready to go on day one. So, and I've been really impressed with everything all the receivers have done so far in the last 2 days of spring ball we've been having.
I like this defense too. You guys have some big names over there. Obviously, Marvin Jones Jr. comes in the transfer portal, but to get a guy like R. Mason Thomas back, to get Dominic Williams back, and then I've heard some great things about Kip Lewis at linebacker, Peyton Bowen at safety. Give me a guy or two you think is going to be a dog on this defense.
Um, two that come in my mind really is all of them are dogs, but the ones that's gonna stand out for me is probably RJ Robert Spears, just the way that he just able to attack the ball, and he's a violent tackler, and that's what you need at a safety, somebody that's gonna come down and hit. And he done that all last year, and he really a really good person that I say that would be a standout player out here.
What was it like getting to play your first season in Norman? Also, it coincided. It was the first season in the SEC, and I'm just curious your take. You've played at a high level. What would you say would be the biggest difference in playing in the SEC? Is it the speed? Is it the size of the defenders? What makes the SEC so good?
Um, I would say it's not the speed there. It's just the people. It's more people up there at the SEC. I'll say they're really. I really don't see a difference. It is. I mean, it's the SEC. Yes, is good and everything, but I mean, football is football to me. So I really don't see a difference in anything. It's either you got it or you don't. That's how I go for it.
They're all big and they're all trying to tackle
Yeah,
you. That's all it is.
yeah, most definitely.
Talking with Sam Franklin, Oklahoma running back. This will probably be your last final season of college, unless something crazy happens. But what are you looking forward to most out of this last season at the college level?
Really just handle business this year. Last year for me, I really it really wasn't what I wanted, but at the end of the day, as athletes, and you're gonna have ups and downs in your career, and I'm really just here now, and I'm in a great mental space and everything, and I just want to just attack this season and finish off my college career at a high level, and so that's like my biggest goal right now.
Is there a particular piece of your game that you felt you needed to work on, whether it be pass protection, or anything like that? Is there any piece of your game that you felt you really need to focus on this offseason?
Not just focus on one thing, just focus on a lot of things. I don't want to just keep focusing on one thing. I just want to improve all the way around. Just make me a better player in general. So, um, I can't really tell you it's just one thing, because I look at the full body of work. Every of my whole of that season, and I feel like I just need to work on everything, and and I you know, and I really feel like I've definitely been doing that, and it's been making my game to a whole nother level.
Got that breakaway speed. Just get the ball in my man's hands. Let him go. Let him go to work here. Uh,
Yeah.
t- Talking with Sam Franklin. When Sam Franklin is not playing football, what are you doing?
I'm either playing a game or I'm fishing. I'm a big outdoors guy, so or I'm playing, or playing a game, but mostly fishing though.
Continue our conversation with Oklahoma running back Sam Franklin. And Sam, we're talking a little bit about what you're doing when you're not playing football. You said you like fishing. What are we fishing for typically?
Fishing for a big mouth bass or a smallmouth. That's what I really like to go out there and go fish. Um, it's almost that time for me to go out there and fish. Springtime coming. Great, great weather. Even though Oklahoma weather been crazy this last few weeks, man, it's been a cold. It'll go cold to hot, to cold to a tornado. So it's just crazy out here. But I'm j- that's just the weather out here. You get all four seasons. But Yeah, that's really what I like to go out there and fish.
Are we using you use live bait or like the artificial lures, or what are you using?
I kind of use sometimes. Sometimes use a jig, or if not, I go live bait sometimes. But I really most likely use a jig though. I feel like professional fishermen use jigs more than live bait.
There's a lot of good fishing there in Arkansas and in Oklahoma. Last thing, you said you're playing games. What games do you play?
Mainly EA, the NCAA game, and then I'll always get down on Warzone, Call of Duty. I'm a real big Call of Duty fan. So yeah, those two games I've been playing so far.
So the NCAA video game, do they have you properly rated, or do they need to do a little
No,
cleanup?
they don't. They don't. But we're not even going to even get into that. I'm gonna just let them take my rating. But no, they got me totally wrong.
Sam, I ask every player that. Every one of them says it's not right. So there's no hate there. Everybody
Yeah,
they can't put everybody where you should be. That's the
yeah, most
name of the game.
definitely.
Sam, best of luck this season, man. Really appreciate you taking some time out with us, and man, go get them. All right, crush it this final year of college. Okay.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, we'll get more coming your way right here on Locked On SEC. All right, thanks again to Sam Franklin for joining us. Great conversation with the Oklahoma running back. We'll see how much playing time he earns coming out of this spring and heading into the fall. Like we've talked about, a loaded backfield room there at Oklahoma. But as we said, look, that schedule for Oklahoma is a very interesting one. They're going to open with Illinois State at home. Then they get a new look Michigan team, but they get them at home in Norman in week 2. That, is it Bryce Underwood, the quarterback, who's going to be the guy? That is going to be a fun one to watch, but certainly a winnable game. And then week 3, they're on the road at Temple. Again, another winnable game for them, albeit, why are you going on the road to play at Temple? But I think all things considered, with what Oklahoma's got and Brent Venables calling the plays on defense, John Mateer, the quarterback, and Ben Arbuckle calling the plays on offense, I think Oklahoma should be 3-0 going into that September 20th game with Jackson Arnold and Auburn coming to Norman. And that's going to be a big one, because it's a revenge factor. Jackson Arnold's going to want to stick it to Oklahoma, saying, you're why I left. And then on the other side, Oklahoma's going to say, oh, we want to prove to you should have stayed. Why'd you leave? John Mateer is better than you. So it's going to be a fun battle on September 20th. But then after that, you get Kent State. Then, of course, it's Texas and the Cotton Bowl. That one's always, a toss-up one. You're on the road to South Carolina. Tough one with Lenora Sellers. Come home for Ole Miss. We'll see how good Austin Simmons is at that point, and that offense for Ole Miss, how good they are. Then it's a tough stretch. You're at Tennessee in November. You're at Alabama November 15th. Really tough back-to-back games there. Of course, revenge factor. Alabama wants to pay them back for that loss last year. But then you finish the season with Mizzou at home and LSU at home. And we'll see where LSU is at that point. Of course, Mizzou, they're going to have a new quarterback, Bo Pribula and company. Ahmad Hardy in the backfield. What does Mizzou look like at that point in the year? So, look, I think 7-5, 8-4, certainly in play for Oklahoma this year. There are some tough games on the schedule, but if they can weather the storm, win a game they're not supposed to, kind of like they did last year, I think 7-5 very much in play. And is that enough to save Brent Venables' job? I think absolutely. I think that's a great step forward. Certainly, I think a lot of OU fans would like to be more in that 9-3, 10-2 borderline playoff team position, but I think it's all about how it looks. Look, you lose a close game on the road at Alabama, no one's going to, throw a hissy fit. You lose on the road by 40, of course, then, going in the wrong direction, that sort of thing. But I do think the future does look a little bit brighter this year for Oklahoma, and certainly we'll see how this team translates coming out of the spring. That's going to do it for this edition of Locked On SEC. Thank you guys for making us your first listen every day. And for your second listen, check out Locked On College Basketball with Isaac Shade and Andy Patton. Of course, March has ended and we're into the final week of college basketball. Find Locked On College Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Again, our thanks to Sam Franklin. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow right here on Locked On SEC.